Welcome back to the channel. We have so much to tell you. So much has happened since the last time we saw you in Varanasi, India. And we are going to fill you in on what happened. It ended quite crazily in India and what's happening with VanLife back in the UK as well. Last time we saw you was in India and we told you that that would be the end, the last video from India, but it wasn't. We actually snuck something else in. I'm going to tell you what that was now. And also, I'm going to fill you in on what's going on with VanLife back in the UK. So there's a lot to tell you. A lot's happened since the last time we saw you in Varanasi, and I'm really going to try and keep it short. But yeah, carry on watching if you want to find out all that's happened, and it's not straightforward as always. But yeah, the last time we saw you was in Varanasi, the oldest, the most holy city in the whole of India. And as you know, we travelled our rickshaw. We bought a 20-year-old rickshaw, and for the last 9 months of the last 12 months, we drove it from the very, very south, southerly tip of India all the way to the north to Amritsar. It was a 9,000 kilometre journey roughly, and it was probably the greatest adventure and craziest adventure we've ever done. And we made it out alive, which was remarkable. Felt very, very lucky. Had the most amazing time, met the most amazing people doing it, and we donated it to a dog sanctuary and gave it Pete, our rickshaw, the best home. You know all of that, you watched all the videos. If not, go back and check them out. Then we decided to go by foot or by public transport to Amritsar, check that out, and then take the train to Varanasi. Varanasi has to be on everybody's list when they come to India, because that's the place, I said it's the holiest city. As you remember from the video, is where Hindus want to go to die or be publicly cremated and have their ashes put into the river, because then that releases you from the reincarnation cycle and you achieve moksha and liberated. We saw some stuff on that trip that we will never forget, as you can imagine if you watch the video. It was shocking but good, challenging but good. It was a perfect end to our India trip, but I had one last bright idea. We had just a few days before we were catching a flight and our visa ran out, and I had a bright idea of trying to squeeze in one last adventure. I looked at the map, and just an overnight train journey south of Varanasi is a state called Madhya Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh has the highest concentration of tigers in the whole of India. I thought, we've not seen a tiger in India, the rarest of animals, or one of the rarest of animals, and we've seen leopards. Could we be lucky to see tigers as well? Realising that we might be pushing our luck as the plane journey was coming up well to leave the country, we decided to give it a go anyway, relying solely on public transport. This was the first mistake that we made. The train that we'd booked was half a day late. So we ended up catching it from Varanasi at about 2 o'clock in the morning and arriving in Madhya Pradesh half a day late, and actually missing the safari that we'd booked into. It was that late that we'd missed it by half a day. Gutted, but quite tired from all of the travelling we've been doing on the train and what have you. We went to a jungle resort called Mowgli Resort. Amazing place, very, very cost effective, very, very nice. And I spoke to those guys about it, and the people who ran that place, and they gave us some advice about getting onto another safari. I actually thought that we'd blown it, and that because we left everything too tight and we didn't realise the train would be so late. So they said if we go and get a permit in the queue, and we're the first in the queue, then they leave that open on a quota for people to get a Jeep. So we rushed down to the permit office straight away without having any time to rest, and waited at the front of a queue and managed to get the permit for the next day for a safari. It's a really, really popular thing to do in India. Obviously, it's got a high population in India and everybody wants to try and see tigers. Anyway, we managed to get that booked in for the following morning at the crack of dawn, or before the crack of dawn. So we had a really, really nice stay there, some nice food at the Mowgli Resort, and then the Jeep picked us up the next day in the dark, an open top Jeep, probably not the thing that you want to be in, going to see one of the most sort of ferocious animals. And so off we went into the national parks in Madhya Pradesh. If you've never been to Madhya Pradesh before, it's absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to go back. It is stunning. The people are nice, it's rural, it's laid back, and it's just stunning, and there's wildlife everywhere. We arrived, we did all of the government military stuff by checking the permits, and then the gates opened to Jurassic Park, and the first thing that we saw was wild elephants, beautiful wild elephants, which was, we thought, this is good, we're onto a winner here, I can't believe it. We carried on down the trail in our open top Jeep, and we saw lots of deer, which were also beautiful. The actual national park as well is worth going for in itself. It was stunning, probably the nicest national park I've seen in the whole of India. Anyway, we carried on going, and then we stopped right next to a tree that had been ripped apart by a tiger, I don't know, recently maybe, with these big tiger marks all the way, tiger claw marks all the way down it. So we were thinking, you know, the feeling inside is like, oh my God, we're actually quite vulnerable here. I hope we can trust what's going on. And then obviously very excited because it makes you feel very real, and the potential of seeing one of the rarest animals in India was potential then. There's potential, possible. So we carried on, and then we found some tiger footprints, some very fresh tiger footprints in the sand on the road. And this is a jeep only national park. You can only enter via jeep and with a guide and all the rest of it. So we were hot on the tail of this large Bengal tiger, and I really felt like we were going to see one. I thought, well, our luck has been so good in India so far, and we followed this, we kept on seeing the tiger footprints, and we kept on going, but unfortunately that was as far as we were ever going to get to a tiger in India this time round. The tiger had disappeared off into the thick jungle, and we didn't get to see one. And we were so gutted, as you can imagine. We did actually have a few hours of trailing around trying to find other ones as well. But yeah, our hopes and dreams of seeing a tiger on our 2024 trip to India just wasn't happening, unfortunately.
No tigers! I have to admit, I am pretty gutted to have not seen tigers today. I know it's a very rare occurrence and you're so lucky if you do see tigers, but I was really hoping that we did.
So we went back later that day, and we're obviously really gutted that we didn't get to see tigers yet, being so close, seeing the claw marks and the tiger footprints in the ground. But India obviously doesn't want us to see tigers right now. We do see the bigger picture and all these things and think a little bit deeply about it. But how could we be so disappointed when we had such a good time over the 9 months traveling across India? One, we came out alive on one of the most dangerous trips that we've ever done. Two, we didn't get eaten by a wild animal, which we could have done by going through a lot of the places that we did drive that rickshaw through and break down in, as you remember from the videos, leopard districts, elephant corridors, tigers and tiger reserves and all the rest of it. And we met so many nice people across the 9 months traveling across India. Wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful locations, and just had the best time. So we do not feel disappointed that we didn't see tigers, and we will return and go back to Madhya Pradesh, and we will do it again sometime in the future. So maybe that's what India was saying to us, that you're going to be back, so don't worry about it. Anyway, it was time to catch our train back to Delhi to catch the flight to leave the country. And of course, the train was cancelled. So we had to do a lot of last minute digging to try and get a train back, because we were just a couple of days away from the plane. Really, don't rely on public transport in India to get you anywhere in time, especially if you've got a important flight ahead of you. This is why Janine and I take responsibility for it. I'm a bit daft sometimes with these things and think we can get away with it. Anyway, despite the train being cancelled, we managed to get onto another one. We actually made it back to Delhi in time, which was a bloody miracle. And so we were very, very pleased about that.
As I look for a better way to get through another boring day, oh yeah, oh yeah, I turn to you for a little while.
So thankfully we made it back to Delhi, despite the public transport working against us, in time for our flight. The unfortunate thing is that we weren't going back to the UK, because, as many of you know, that we are van lifers and our home is a camper van. And if you're watching from India, that's basically like a motor home, so like a home on wheels. We've got it's a van, and it's got a kitchen in the back and a shower and all the rest of it, and we really enjoy it, and it's our chosen lifestyle. But with it, we've had some really, really bad luck. We bought it, the engine was probably rubbish when we bought it, and it blew up on us. So we had to get a new engine, a reconditioned engine, and the people that installed that reconditioned engine, according to mechanical reports, installed it wrong. And so a few months later, it blew up again. I use the word blow up, it's obviously a bit more complicated than that. Because we believe, or the mechanics believe, it's not a fault of our own, then we are obviously pursuing it down sort of their liability. They're liable for it, and it's turned into a legal issue. Because it's a legal issue, everybody seems to stall as much as possible, and it takes ages, and I haven't realised how long these things take. I didn't think it would happen to us because it's so clear cut, we believe. Anyway, so it has. So whilst the whole time we was in India, I was to and froing, and I wish I could have updated you sooner, but there really wasn't that much bigger news to say. At the point of us leaving India, our camper van, our home, wasn't livable in. So we would be coming back and living in travel lodges and Airbnbs. and Premier Inns and all that sort of stuff, which wasn't ideal for us. It costs a lot of money in the UK to live, especially in hotels and what have you. So we decided to wait a little bit longer, and we headed to Bali. Many of you have said that we should take a break. We've done a lot over the last sort of 12 months, and India was a great adventure, but we really didn't take much downtime. We just kept on going, because we had a destination in mind, or I did anyway. It affected our health because as we went into northern India, it started getting colder. The journeys in the rickshaw became longer, and the roads became rougher, and it was tough. It was tough in North India. I'm not going to lie to you. The last few weeks in the rickshaw were really, really tough, but enjoyable still. Indian people make it enjoyable, and the things we experienced on the way made it enjoyable, but it was tough on our bodies. So we decided to take some time off, and we went to Bali, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend Bali enough. We did have some downtime with the cameras, so we didn't do any vlogging or anything, because we needed to truly put the cameras down, not only reflect on our time in India and try and process everything that happened, but try and get ourselves ready for going back to the UK, waiting to hear, oh, we've got word, things are sorted, engines a go, all that sort of stuff. So that's what we did. Anyway, whilst we were in Bali, another thing that we decided to do was we wanted to move forwards in life productively, doing things that we've always wanted to do. And actually, since in the second half of doing van life once again, so much stuff went wrong that we were constantly distracted by trying to sort it out all the time. You know, if you've followed the channel, you've watched our van life in the second part since we've had Morgan. It was crazy. So anyway, we decided that we want to pursue certain things. So Janine, another reason why we wanted to go to Bali was because it's a really good place to go to do silver making, jewelry making. It's something that Janine's always wanted to do, or at least since I've known her. So she started doing silver making and jewelry making, and it's, from what started out, is incredible. So she's really on something there, and it's already a really, really good start. I also, whilst I was in Bali, they're really known for their incredible cuisine, Indonesian food. It's amazing. So I took opportunity to do some cooking classes and stuff and learn some different cooking techniques from the Balinese people, which was really, really good. I've progressed a lot with that sort of thing now, and I'm looking forward to progressing further with that. So it was a really, really good trip, along with we were hiking every day and doing yoga intensively and doing the jewelry making and the cooking, and just having a really, really good relaxed time. I can't recommend Bali enough. I'm almost gutted that we didn't pick up the cameras more, or we didn't vlog it, but we both said to each other we're probably going to go back, and then we'll be able to show you in greater detail what we experienced there. Anyway, then what happened was the situation with the van had changed, with the camper van had changed.
Unused, sometimes left alone in the heat of the night. Every time, and up like a prey, got nothing but my soul to blame.
So unfortunately, our time in Bali had come to an end, but we'd had a really, really good time, and it was time to face the music back in the UK after many, many months of being away and waiting for the situation to resolve itself, because fortunately all it seems to have been is me being a middle person between garages and other garages and solicitors. Solicitors have been really, really good trying to push the situation as much, but I really, really couldn't believe, and I still can't believe, how long things take. People did warn us about that. There seems to be a lot of stalling involved, as many of you have probably been in the same situation, have come across yourself. It wasn't a great welcome home, to be honest with you, and we knew it wouldn't be because of the situation. We had to get the reconditioned engine put in anyway and front the bill ourselves. I won't tell you how difficult it was to sort that out, because it's a hell of a lot of money that has been put into just the engine situation over 12 months. Has been close to £18,000, and we had to pay that over ourselves for the engine and the damage that was done from the engine going. That's both times, not just the most recent time, the time before as well, accumulated. So it was a really difficult one, because we know that would pay for a brand new camper van. It's a lot of money invested, and we love Morgan, where I am sat right now. He is our home. And we've spent a lot of time and effort and money and tears and sadness and happiness and excitement and all the rest of it to get to the stage where we are now. And we do consider him to be our home, so that makes it even, we're so attached to him. But we have spent so much money on him. it's not a good situation. I know many people in the same situation would say, oh, get rid and all the rest of it. But now we are, I was sort of hoping I'll be able to do this video, and by the time that this video goes out, I'd be able to fill you in and let you know that the third party have accepted liability and they're paying for the new engine, and we're 100% going to continue doing van life. But unfortunately I can't do that because it's up in the air a little bit. We don't know whether they're going to accept liability. We don't know whether we're going to be going to court. We don't know how long this is going to go on for. But all I know is that £18,000 just for engines is a lot of money, plus the money that we put into building the darn thing. We love it. We love van life. It's our chosen lifestyle, but it's been tough. It's been a financial tough thing. But the good news is we're in a good place in our heads, despite all the things that are going on. And as I said, I was sort of hoping to give you better news, but we are literally waiting on, there was a time period that has passed that we should have got word back. Then we've now let the third party know that they've now only got 7 days, and in 7 days it's moving on to the next stage. And that is when we'll know way more about it. Are we going to be going to court? Are they going to accept liability? And then we know that we get to continue van life no matter what, because they're paying for the darn engine, which is only fair. At the moment, I don't know, but the word back, the next stage is imminent. I'm literally waiting for 2 more days, I think, is left on that 7-day period that they've got. So wish us luck, and hopefully next time we see you on the next video next week, we have some really, really good news for you, that no matter what, we're going to continue van life. But at the moment, it's a little bit up in the air, shall we say. But I thought I'd come on here and be as transparent as we have been for the whole time with you. And Janine and I just really wanted to say thank you so much for coming to India with us. We aren't really a van life channel or a travel channel. We're just Liam and Janine Day, those happy days, and we go about life the way that we go about life and bring you along with us. And you all seem to really like the India trip just as much as we did, and that really, really makes us happy. So thank you for that, and hopefully there's a lot more to come as all of this unfolds. Wish us luck. Thank you for giving a thumbs up to the video, it helps. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright.